Hello, and welcome to Nightmare Dial, where the darkness never sleeps. Here, we dive deep into the hidden corners of the internet, places you were never meant to see. If you love true terrifying stories from the dark web, the kind that make you question reality, then hit subscribe and ring the bell. This channel is new, and I need your help to grow our dark little community. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready, because tonight's story might be the last thing you hear before you sleep. Let's begin. It started with a dare. I know. Classic, right? But this wasn't your typical, I dare you to eat a spoonful of cinnamon type thing. This was darker. My friend Alex was always into weird internet stuff. Creepypastas, conspiracy theories, you name it. One night, while scrolling through some shady Reddit threads, Alex stumbled upon a post titled, "The Stream That Watches You Back." It had barely any upvotes, and the comments were all deleted. But there was a link. No description. No warnings. "You won't click it," Alex said, grinning. "Bet?" I replied, trying to sound brave even though my palms were already sweaty. So I did. I copied the link into my Tor browser, heart pounding, and hit enter. At first, nothing. Just a black screen. I almost laughed, thinking it was some dumb prank. But then faintly, a video feed flickered to life. It was grainy, like old CCTV footage. A dimly lit room with a single chair in the center. Empty. I waited. Minutes passed. Then, a figure entered the frame. It was someone wearing a mask, smooth, featureless, pure white. They sat down on the chair, facing the camera. They didn't move, didn't speak. I was about to close the tab when I noticed something that made my stomach drop. Behind the masked figure was a wall covered in photos. Photos of me. Different angles. Some from school, some from my backyard, even one of me sleeping. I gasped, my heart racing. This had to be fake, right? Some kind of deep fake? But how did they get those pictures? Suddenly, the masked figure tilted their head, slowly, like they were listening. Then, they raised a hand and pointed, directly at me. I slammed my laptop shut, my hands trembling. But then, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated, but something in me needed to know. I answered. No words, just breathing. "Who is this?" I shouted. A distorted voice finally spoke. "You shouldn't have watched." Click. I threw my phone across the room, my mind racing. I tried to convince myself it was just an elaborate prank. Maybe Alex set it up? But then, there was a knock at the door. I froze. It was past midnight. Who would be here? Another knock. Louder this time. I tiptoed to the window and peeked through the blinds. A figure stood at the end of my driveway, wearing a mask. The same mask. I backed away, my chest tightening. I called Alex, hoping this was all some sick joke. He picked up, whispering, "Dude." I made a mistake. I clicked the link too. "What? When?" "Right after you did, but I saw something different. The room, the chair, it was empty. Until you walked in." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" "I saw you sitting in the chair. And then someone came in behind you." I turned around, my heart in my throat. Nothing. But then, my webcam light flicked on. I wasn't on a call. No apps were open. I slowly looked at my screen. The feed from the hidden stream was back. But this time, it was my room. And behind me, a masked figure. Before I could react, the screen went black. I don't remember much after that. Just waking up on the floor hours later, my laptop smashed, my phone dead. I moved cities, deleted everything, tried to forget, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear that faint breathing, and I know they're still watching. You ever hear about those corners of the dark web that even hackers avoid? Yeah, I didn't believe it either, until I found one. It started with an invite. I was in this underground forum just browsing. when I got a DM from someone named Watcher_001. No profile pic, no bio, just a message. Join us, midnight. Here's the link. I should have ignored it, but curiosity, it's dangerous. At midnight, I clicked the link using my VPN and Tor browser. It led to a simple black screen with a single chat box titled The Silent Chat Room. There were no users listed, no messages, just emptiness. I typed, "Hello?" Nothing. I waited, fingers hovering over the keyboard, heart pounding. Then, a message appeared. "We see you." I felt a chill run down my spine. I replied, "Who are you?" Another message. "You invited us in." What did that mean? Invited them? I was about to close the tab when another message popped up. "Check your window." I froze. I lived on the 5th floor. No balconies, no ledges, but I turned, hesitantly pulling back the curtain. Nothing. I sighed, feeling foolish when another message came. "Look again." This time my heart was racing. I peeked again, and there it was. A face, pale, eyes completely black, staring directly at me from the other side of the glass. I jumped back, slamming the curtains shut, scrambling to turn off my laptop. But the messages kept coming. "You can't leave." I ripped the Ethernet cable out, turned off my Wi-Fi, everything. Then my phone buzzed. A notification. New message from Watcher_001. I opened it. "Why did you close the window?" I dropped the phone, panic setting in. I called the police, but when they arrived, there was no one outside. No footprints, nothing. They told me it was probably a prank. But that night, when I tried to sleep, I heard tapping from the window. I didn't look. I couldn't. It's been weeks. I moved apartments, switched devices, but sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still get messages. "We still see you." And now, as I'm telling you this, my phone just buzzed. A new message. "We hear you too." It started on a night like any other, or so I thought. I was bored, restless, scrolling through my phone at 3:47 a.m. when I stumbled across an article about the dark web. You know, the kind of thing you read just because it sounds creepy and forbidden. The kind of thing that makes you feel edgy and alive in the dead of night. At first, I dismissed it as clickbait, another overhyped mystery designed to keep me glued to my screen. But something about this one felt different. The headline read, "The Forgotten Room, a place you shouldn't visit." Underneath was a single sentence. "If you dare, type forget.me into Tor." Tor. That browser everyone whispers about. The gateway to the hidden corners of the internet. I'd heard stories before. Stories about hackers, black markets, and things too strange to believe. But this seemed personal. Like whoever wrote it knew I would find it. My heart raced as I stared at the words. What if it was real? What if there really was some secret place out there waiting for someone stupid enough or brave enough to explore it? Before I could talk myself out of it, I downloaded Tor. My hands trembled as I opened the browser and typed those 5 letters, forget.me. The page loaded slowly, like it didn't want me to see what lay beyond. Then, suddenly it appeared. A plain black screen with white text that sent chills down my spine. It said only 3 words. "Are you lost? Are you lost?" The question hung in the air, heavy and unsettling. Was this some kind of prank? Or was it something darker? I hesitated, unsure how to respond. Finally, I typed back, "Who are you?" For a moment, nothing happened. Just silence. And then, the screen changed. A new message appeared. "We know who you are. We know who you are." That's when panic set in. How could they know who I am? I hadn't given them my name, my location, nothing. Yet somehow, they claimed to have all the answers. I tried to close the browser, but it wouldn't let me. No matter how hard I clicked, the window stayed open, taunting me with its blank stare. And then came the pictures. At first, they were small thumbnails scattered across the screen. grainy images of places I recognized. My old high school, the park where I used to walk my dog, even the corner store near my apartment. Nothing too alarming, right? Wrong. Because embedded within each photo was a timestamp, and every single one dated back to today. Today. How did they get these photos? Had someone been following me? Watching me? Suddenly I felt suffocated, trapped in my own home. I grabbed my phone, ready to call someone, anyone, but the battery had died without warning. Of course it had. Everything was falling apart around me, piece by piece. Desperate, I turned back to the computer. More messages flashed across the screen. "Do you remember the night you left her?" Followed by another. "She's still waiting for you to come back." Who was she? Who were they talking about? Memories flooded back unbidden, fragments of a past I'd buried deep inside. There was someone I hadn't thought about in years, someone I promised to protect, but failed. Tears blurred my vision as I typed frantically, "Tell me what you mean. Who is she?" The response came instantly. "Go look in your mirror, go look in your mirror." Shaking uncontrollably, I obeyed. Staring back at me was my reflection, or so I thought. As I watched, horrified, the image shifted slightly. My hair moved differently, my eyes gleamed with a cold, unnatural light. And then, in a voice that wasn't mine, it spoke. "You left me here alone." "No!" I screamed, stumbling backward. The chair hit the floor with a crash, but I barely noticed. All I could do was stare at the figure in the mirror, now fully transformed into something monstrous. Its face stretched and warped, teeth elongating into jagged points. Behind it, shadows writhed like living creatures, clawing at the glass. Somehow, I managed to tear my gaze away and run to the door. But when I reached for the handle, it twisted violently under my hand, pulling me closer instead of letting me escape. When I finally wrenched it open, I froze. Standing outside wasn't the empty hallway I expected. It was her, the girl from my nightmares. Her skin pale, her lips cracked and bleeding, her eyes hollow and accusing. "You promised," she whispered, reaching out with skeletal fingers. "You promised you'd never leave me." I wanted to scream, to fight, to run, but my body refused to move. Instead, I fell to my knees, sobbing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry," I choked out. "I'm so sorry." Her expression softened ever so slightly, though her voice remained steady. "Too late," she murmured. Then she smiled, a cruel, twisted smile, and vanished into thin air. When I looked up again, the room was empty. My computer sat silent on the desk, the screen blank except for one final message. "See you soon. See you soon." Now, as I sit here recounting this story, I can't shake the feeling that someone, or something, is watching me. Every shadow seems darker, every sound louder. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear footsteps outside my door. Slow, deliberate steps that stop right outside my room. Are they real? Or am I losing my mind? I don't know. All I know is this. If you're watching this video, maybe it's already too late for you too. Because somewhere out there, in the depths of the dark web, they're watching, waiting. And sooner or later, they'll come for you. So tell me, do you feel safe right now? I've always been curious about the dark web, but I never thought it would ruin my life. It started a few months ago. I was on a forum, just browsing random threads, when I stumbled upon a post titled, "See Yourself from the Outside." There was no description, just a link. I know, I should have ignored it, but I clicked. The link took me to a blank page, black background with a single video player in the center. The play button pulsed, almost like it was breathing. I hesitated, then hit play. At first it was just static, then an image appeared. It was a live video feed of me, sitting at my desk, wearing the exact same clothes, in the exact same position. I spun around, heart pounding, but there was no camera, nothing. I looked back at the screen. I was still there. Only now, the me on the screen smiled. I wasn't smiling. I closed the tab instantly, shut everything down. But that night, I got an email. No subject, no sender, just one sentence. You shouldn't have closed it. I tried to brush it off, but weird things kept happening. I'd get texts from unknown numbers saying things like, "You looked good today," or worse, "We liked what you did last night." I started feeling watched, like eyes were on me constantly. Then, my friends began acting strange. One day, my best friend Jake called me, furious. "Dude, what the hell was that last night?" I was confused. "What are you talking about? You showed up at my place, said all that creepy stuff about how I'm next, then just left." I hadn't left my apartment. I swore to him it wasn't me, but he didn't believe me. Then it got worse. I checked my social media. Videos of me, or someone who looked exactly like me, were popping up, doing things I'd never do, threatening people, smiling in this twisted, unnatural way. I deactivated everything, but it was too late. People thought it was me. I barely sleep now. Every time I pass a mirror, I swear, I see myself blink a second too late, like there's something else behind the reflection. And tonight, just a few minutes ago, I got another email. No subject, no sender. It just said, "It's your turn to watch now." Attached was a link. I haven't clicked it yet, but I can feel it. Someone is standing right behind me. I'm too scared to turn around. It was late, too late to be awake, but I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with thoughts I couldn't shake. So I did what anyone restless does these days. I grabbed my laptop and started browsing aimlessly. At first, it was harmless stuff. News articles, random videos, memes. But then, something strange happened. I don't know how I stumbled upon it. One moment I was reading about conspiracy theories, and the next, there it was. A link buried deep in the comments section of some obscure forum. It looked out of place, like it didn't belong. Just 3 words. Find yourself here. Find yourself here. The phrase chilled me to the bone, but at the same time it intrigued me. What did it mean? Who posted it? And why did it feel like it was meant for me? Before I could think twice, I clicked it. A warning popped up immediately. You are entering an unindexed area of the web. Proceed at your own risk. My heart pounded as I hesitated. Part of me wanted to back out, to close the browser and forget I ever saw it. But another part, the curious, reckless part, pressed onward. The page loaded slowly, painfully slow, like it was testing my resolve. When it finally appeared, all I saw was darkness. Complete, suffocating darkness. Then, after what felt like forever, a faint glow emerged from the center of the screen. It wasn't light. It was more like eyes. 2 glowing orbs staring straight at me. Are you ready? The question materialized beneath the eyes, written in jagged letters that seemed to pulse with life. Are you ready? I didn't answer right away. How could I? This wasn't real. It had to be a prank, right? Some weird website trying to scare people. But deep down, I knew better. There was something wrong about this. Finally, I typed, "Who are you?" There was no immediate response. Instead, the screen went black again. For a few seconds, or maybe minutes, I sat frozen, waiting for something to happen. And then, the images began. They weren't just pictures. They were snippets of my life. Photos of places I'd been, things I'd done, my childhood home, the coffee shop where I spent countless hours studying, even a selfie I took last week with friends. Every single one had timestamps attached, and they were all recent. How could this be possible? Panic set in as I tried to make sense of it. Was someone hacking me, tracking me, or was this something else entirely? "Stop it!" I shouted, slamming my hands on the keyboard. "Who is doing this?" The screen flickered, and the glowing eyes reappeared. This time, They weren't just looking at me. They were staring through me, into my soul. You think you're alone? You think no one sees you? Each word hit me like a punch to the gut. I scrambled to shut down the computer, but it wouldn't respond. The cursor froze mid-motion, refusing to move. Whatever this thing was, it had complete control. And then came the voice. Not from the speakers, not from anywhere physical. It whispered directly into my mind, cold and cruel. You have secrets, it said. We all do. Suddenly the images changed. They weren't photos anymore. Now they were videos. Videos of moments I thought only I remembered. Private moments, painful ones. Moments I wished I could erase. One clip showed me as a kid, crying in my bedroom after losing a fight with my brother. Another showed me lying to a friend during high school. Each memory played out before me, forcing me to relive every mistake, every regret. Tears streamed down my face as I begged it to stop. Please, please leave me alone. But it didn't stop. In fact, it got worse. The final video wasn't of me. It was of someone else. Someone I hadn't thought about in years. Her name was Emily. She used to be my best friend until, well, let's just say we drifted apart under less than ideal circumstances. The video showed her sitting alone in her apartment, staring blankly at the wall. She looked broken, lost. Do you remember her? The voice asked. Do you remember what you did? I didn't do anything, I stammered. She moved away. That's all. The screen flashed red, and the glowing eyes narrowed. Lies, it spat. You left her behind. No, I whispered, shaking my head. No, that's not true. But deep down, I knew it was true. I had abandoned her when she needed me most, and now somehow, this entity knew it. As if to prove its point, the video cut to a new scene. Emily walking through a crowded park, glancing over her shoulder as though she felt watched. Then, suddenly, she turned toward the camera and froze. Her eyes widened in terror as she pointed directly at me. He's here, she screamed. He knows where I am. The connection dropped, leaving behind static. Static that grew louder, angrier until it filled the room. My chest tightened as I realized the truth. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't just targeting me. It was hunting her too. Desperate, I reached for my phone to call Emily, but the battery was dead. Of course it was. Everything was falling apart around me, piece by piece. When I turned back to the computer, the screen had changed once more. This time, it displayed a map leading straight to Emily's current location. Alongside it was a countdown timer ticking down from 10 minutes. Save her or lose her forever. 10 minutes. That's all I had. Without thinking, I grabbed my keys and ran out the door. The streets were eerily quiet as I sped toward her address. With each passing second, the timer ticked closer to 0. My hands shook on the wheel, sweat dripping from my forehead. If I failed, if I didn't reach her in time, I didn't want to think about it. Finally, I arrived. Her building loomed ahead, dark and foreboding. As I sprinted inside, the timer read 0:37. 37 seconds left. I burst through her apartment door, breathless and terrified. "Emily!" I shouted. "Are you here?" No answer. Then, from the corner of the room, I heard a soft whimper. Turning quickly, I found her huddled against the wall, trembling. Her eyes darted wildly, searching for something or someone. "It's here," she whispered. "He's watching us." "Who?" I demanded. "What is it?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed past me toward the window. Slowly, I turned around and froze. Standing outside, silhouetted against the moonlight, was a figure, its face obscured by shadows, its presence unnaturally still. And yet, I could feel its gaze boring into me, piercing through my very soul. The timer hit 0, and then everything went black. When I woke up, I was back in my apartment. The computer sat silent on the desk. The screen blank except for one chilling message. We'll be seeing you again soon. We'll be seeing you all. Now, as I sit here telling you this story, I can't help but wonder, is it really over? Or is it just beginning? Because every time I look over my shoulder, I swear I see those glowing eyes staring back at me. It started with a link, a single, unassuming line of text buried in the depths of a forgotten Reddit thread. Don't click this. Seriously, don't. That's what the post said. Just 5 words, typed in all caps, screaming into the void. But here's the thing about warnings. They're like neon signs for curiosity. And I clicked. The screen flickered just for a second, before loading a page so black it felt like staring into a void. No images, no text, just a password field and a single line blinking in blood-red font. Enter your name. My fingers hovered. This is stupid, I whispered, but I typed it anyway. Lucas. The page refreshed, and there it was, a live feed, grainy, green-tinted like old security footage. But what I saw, it was my room, my desk, my hands trembling on the keyboard. No, this isn't possible. I spun around, scanning the shadows, empty, quiet. But the feed, it was real. Someone was watching. Right. Now I slammed the laptop shut, lungs burning. Just a prank, some hacker messing with me, I told myself. But then, my phone buzzed. A notification from an unknown number. Look behind you. Ice flooded my veins. I didn't want to turn, but I did. Nothing. Just the dark hallway. I laughed, nervous, shrill, until I noticed it. On the wall, a symbol, glowing faintly red like a brand. A circle with 3 slashes. It wasn't there before. What the hell? I reached out. I jumped, scrambling to lock the doors. But the symbols kept appearing, on the windows, the mirrors, even my skin, and the messages. They kept coming. We see you. You shouldn't have clicked. Run! I tried deleting the link, but it was gone, like it never existed. I called the police, but when they arrived, the symbols vanished. The feed disappeared. They left, eyeing me like I was crazy. But that night, the whispers started. Voices in the static between radio channels. A face in the TV snow. And the final message, you owe us a name. That's when I understood. The password field. It wasn't asking for my name. It wanted me to choose someone else. A sacrifice. And now, they're in my house, scratching at the walls, breathing through the vents. They say if I don't give them another name by sunrise, they'll take mine. I'm typing this now because maybe you've clicked the link too. Maybe you've seen the symbols, heard the whispers, or maybe I'm the warning. A story you'll tell yourself isn't real. But check your walls, check your phone, and if you see a red circle, run. Lucas, we're here. Stay safe out there. And remember, the dark web isn't the only place they're watching. Turn off your camera, now.